Most people believe that being rich is defined by what you can show off, but the truly wealthy know that looking rich is the fastest way to stay poor. You see it everywhere in the designer labels and luxury cars financed by people living paycheck to paycheck. This invisible trap is the primary reason the middle class remains stuck while the top 1% quietly builds generational empires. There is one specific habit that millionaires treat like a deadly virus, yet it is likely draining your bank account at this very moment. If you fail to identify this psychological glitch, you will spend your entire life working for objects that lose value the second you buy them. Today, we are exposing the status trap and the exact shift you need to make to stop playing the game and start winning it. This cycle didn't start with social media or modern credit cards. For centuries, humans have used external symbols to signal their rank within a hierarchy. Back then, survival depended on being part of the group, and status was a marker of safety and resource access. The Industrial Revolution. This psychological conditioning didn't happen by accident, it was carefully engineered during the Industrial Revolution to keep the workforce consuming. As mass production scaled, companies realized they didn't just need workers, they needed professional spenders to keep the economy moving. The modern consumer was born out of a necessity to keep the gears of industry turning at all costs. Social media has now amplified this ancient tribal instinct into a global competition for perceived prestige and digital validation. We are hardwired to seek status within our tribe because, historically, high status meant better access to resources and survival. Today, that survival instinct is being hijacked by algorithms that reward you for looking successful rather than actually being successful. While the average person is chasing the latest upgrade, the wealthy are quietly accumulating assets that produce cash flow behind the scenes. They understand the math of compounding interest and how it works against you when you carry high-interest consumer debt. Every luxury item purchased on credit is essentially a tax you pay for the privilege of appearing wealthier than you are. The middle class often falls into the trap of lifestyle creep, where every raise in income is immediately met with an equal rise in expenses. This creates a golden cage where you are earning more money than ever but still feeling the same intense financial pressure. You become a high-income earner who is effectively broke because your net worth is tied up in things that lose value daily. This cycle is fueled by a short-term dopamine hit that lasts only until the next product launch or social media trend arrives. We trade our most valuable asset, which is time, for temporary validation from people we usually don't even like. The wealthy avoid this trap because they value their personal autonomy far more than they value the applause of the crowd. To break this cycle, you must first recognize that your current financial habits are likely a reflection of your environment, not your potential. The shift begins when you stop viewing money as a tool for consumption and start seeing it as a tool for ultimate liberation. Understanding this fundamental difference is the only way to escape the invisible gravity of the status trap once and for all. But escaping this gravity requires a brutal confrontation with your own bank statement. You have to face the cold reality that your current path is designed for a destination you never actually wanted to reach. This is the moment where the comfort of the status quo finally breaks under the weight of your potential. Imagine waking up and realizing that the brand new car in your driveway represents 5 years of your life you will never get back. That realization is a psychological gut punch that most people spend their entire lives trying to ignore. It is the sudden, painful awareness that you are trading your freedom for a collection of shiny metal and expensive fabric. The conflict begins when you decide to stop playing the game, and suddenly, your social circle starts to feel like a cage. Your friends and family might see your new frugality as a sign of failure rather than a strategy for victory. This social friction is the first real test of whether you truly value wealth or just the performance of it. You discover that the wealthy don't just save money, they aggressively protect their capital from the erosion of social expectation. They treat every dollar as a seed that must be planted, not a fruit to be consumed immediately. This fundamental shift in perspective changes the way you look at every transaction for the rest of your life. Once you see the strings of the status trap, you can never go back to being a blind consumer. Every advertisement and every luxury display starts to look like a desperate plea for validation rather than a symbol of success. You are now standing at a crossroads where you must choose between a life of quiet growth or a life of loud stagnation. The number one habit you must kill is the instinct to reward yourself with liabilities every time you experience a small win. Most people celebrate a promotion by increasing their monthly payments, effectively canceling out their progress. The wealthy do the exact opposite by keeping their expenses flat while their income scales toward the sky. This transition creates a temporary identity crisis where you no longer fit into the world of the average spender. You might feel isolated as you watch others continue to chase the latest trends while you focus on the invisible numbers in your brokerage account. It is a lonely bridge to cross, but it is the only one that leads to genuine financial sovereignty. But understanding the trap is only the first step toward dismantling it within your own life. You are about to face a series of choices that will determine if you have the discipline to actually execute this new philosophy. The real battle isn't against the banks or the marketers, but against the version of yourself that still craves the crowd's approval. This internal war reaches a breaking point when you realize that every yes to a social invitation or a luxury purchase is a no to your future freedom. You start to see the hidden price tag on everything, not in dollars, but in hours of your life you will never get back. This realization is the catalyst that turns a passive observer into an active architect of their own destiny. The crisis begins when your social circle notices the change and starts to apply pressure for you to return to the norm. They might mock your older car or question why you are not joining them on expensive vacations funded by high-interest debt. This is